guys, Brian Klock. Special day for us today. Earl Grey is out in the sun. And Earl Grey is a 2007 Road Glide that we picked up from a gentleman who, ironically enough, was named Earl, right? Down in Sioux City. Todd went out in, I think maybe December or something. It was wintertime, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
We picked up this crusty old bagger, right? Picked it up for like $4,000, $4,500 or something, but we thought it was a good deal at the time. And we're like, perfect, right? And so I cut my teeth in this era. 06, 07 is when we did the windshield, the biker build off, all that stuff. So these bikes were brand new at that time. This was a factory paint job, factory color, still is. You may be wondering why there's no stripe here. That's what Harley decided. That's how it was. So this bike is as is 2007, well, kinda. And so we made a bunch of changes to it, but the goal was to see what we could do with a budget build on an older bagger. When we went to these PM wheels, we might have blew the budget. But let's talk a little bit about how we even got to this point. You became the caretaker of this bike, and let me introduce first Todd Dozark. Todd is all things Klockworks, okay? But more importantly, our distribution center. Todd does all the receiving, does all the things, and knows all the things at the DC. You've seen him work in rallies, whether it's Daytona, Sturgis, you name it, he's been there. And is also up for a ride anytime we're going to like the bagger races in Utah, or whether we're just headed out to the Black Hills for a show. This bike debuted at the Black Hills Motorcycle Show. Why this bike? What's the deal?
I came partial to it because I've always been a Road Glide fan around the 07 range. And once we picked it up, I just kept riding it for a couple years and kind of had this vision, same as you, is on a budget, but kind of the performance bagger style.
The beauty of this thing, and I just want to start out with some few simple little pieces. This is a Biltwell bar that Todd Cerakoted, 6.5 inch drag specialties riser. Our riser aisle mount, right? So you can put your phone, you can just snap your phone right there. So should Todd not have gauges, he could use this as a gauge, but now he can also use it as the GPS. He can use it as the audio to the Cardo and him and Lori's helmets. Just makes it a slick part all the way around. We had a lot of discussion early on, Todd, about black, chrome, Cerakote. Which way do we go? It looks like we did it all.
A little bit of everything. I like leaning towards the gray accents.
Yeah, so speaking of that, right, the fork leg's all Cerakoted. So this whole deal, including you even did the fender blocks, comes all the way up through here. You even took off the top triple trees.
Correct.
And normally when you clean all this up and go to this kind of a bar, this can look a little messy in here, and yet you made it look super clean. It's awesome. Tell me, so here we use the flush mount axle. You even Cerakoted that bottom cap.
Why would you not? Why would you leave it raw?
Originally the talk was we were gonna go with some stock wheels because this thing came with the
wagon wheels.
The wagon wheels, but the silver wagon wheels, because the motor is a blonde motor, as they call it, but it's silver, it's lighter silver. And suddenly we found out that some of the things weren't gonna work the way we wanted them to. And literally busted out these Performance Machine Domino wheels, which is one of my favorite wheels of this era. It looks great on your bike. You wrapped it in Metzler tires?
Absolutely.
Tell me about the seat.
I wanted to do a red stitch to accent the red stripes. So we reached out to Saddlemen. They gave us a step up, the cool kid seat, but we still have the road sofa for when my wife wants to ride.
Well, there's that. You got to keep everybody happy, right? One of the tricks here is this is a Klockworks metal dash, right? That's painted to match by the guys over at Jerdy Production Painting. Took care of all the paint work on this thing. In fact, took back to the factory color, took it down, clear everything, painted the interfering. This dash is our part, but in order to make the tank look a little bit longer, here's a little trick for you. You order a Road King seat, not a Road Glide seat. The Road Glide seat would normally come up to here because that chrome dash, the big hubcap on it, comes to right here. You order a Road King and suddenly this whole thing looks longer. We use a Nest 12-point gas cap, which is vented. The beauty of this is as you tighten it up, it clicks. And if you want to zoom in here, you'll see that it's to be used with race fuel only. That's never a problem for you, is it, Todd?
Nope.
While we're in here, our friends at Ohio Gauges did these wicked cool carbon fiber gauges with the red accents. Even put the Klockworks logo on there. We've got the little trim rings around this, so it matches this piece. This piece is super cool, Todd, and that was absolutely your call. Yeah. Where'd that come from?
I our good friend, my machinist, we reached out, and that's about one of the only parts that he makes for 13 and down
Yeah.
road glides, and it's a gauge relocation pod.
So normally the gauges are here in a plastic kind of cluster. You took out the radio and moved this up here. Taking out the radio is really no problem for you. Why is that?
Well, we all run Cardos in our helmets to Bluetooth to our phone, but we ain't got time to listen to music. I'd rather go fast.
So if you want to, again, like I said, you can use your phone right here. The audio's here, the navigation's here. So it only makes sense to get the gauges up here in this really cool package. I love the way you guys left this brushed so it matches all this stuff. Bring me down to the floorboards, pegs.
I wanted to stay with the raw billet aluminum to match the gauge relocation, and I like floorboards versus pegs, so we went with the thrashing floorboards, rear pegs, and the brake.
Yeah, so I mean, they look aggressive. They've got the knurl on them. That's super cool. Tell me about the crash bar. What's the deal with the front crash bar? It looks like, again, like you Cerakoted it.
They come from SBC Performance. They come black or chrome. We reached out and asked if we could get a raw one so we could Cerakote it to match the rest of.
And then you have the option of ordering the red anodized ends, or how's that work?
Correct. And I wanted the red again to go with the stitching and the stripe on the side. Just the small little accents.
Normally the ignition on these bikes is right up here in this location, right?
Yep.
Okay. Tell me about that part.
That is for our Softail relocation. Normally they're up here and they're big and clunky, and you can relocate it to where your horn was at, which we didn't. We wanted to delete the horn anyway.
So to do this, you just buy a Softail switch, or a Dyna switch, I guess would be the same.
Correct.
It has the cover over the key, which I can't pull it right now. Right there you go. So new, the detent's still sticky. But then put that in there. Is that a part you guys are going to be making now? Is that something over at the DC that I need to know about, that all of a sudden now we have a bagger relocation kit? Or
it is not a current part for a road glide in this application per se.
But if the listeners are blowing up the phone,
it's coming.
All right,
It's
perfect.
coming, I can guarantee it.
Perfect. PM Renthal grips, chrome covers from Harley-Davidson, factory chrome mirrors.
I'm a factory mirror guy.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. They work good. They don't shake, the whole deal. On this side, you've got the Cobra air cleaner, which I'm a huge, huge fan of that. And I love how it opened up the silver on the motor, and you got the mesh in there to make this all kind of look the same kind of patterns, all that kind of stuff. And then the exhaust,
Lets it breathe.
that Bassani 2-in-1 is long, and I feel like with the 21 and even this slicer front fender, you get all these lines right here that are going back through the bike, including the straight lines here and that pipe, and it really adds to the length of the whole project. I think it looks awesome.
Right. I've always really loved the sound of the Bassani 2-in-1.
Now, I don't think we make this part right here. What's that?
I just didn't like the reflectors, so I peeled them out. I found some aluminum bar stock and kept grinding and buffing until I got it to fit in there, and replaced the reflector and then Cerakoted it, and then we lasered my name on it.
You hand sanded to make it fit.
Yep, to match the reflectors.
Very, very cool. And Cerakoted it, obviously, right?
Yep.
And then back here in the back, this is a new part. This is
It is.
This is going to be the performance bagger fender for the older bikes, and you can see it's got just about a 1-inch tail on it, but it's still, you used our recessed license, right?
Correct.
It's lighted, right?
Yep.
Tell me about, what are these guys?
I didn't want to go big and bulky or anything really noticeable with the taillights and blinkers.
Yep.
So we went with the Bagger Nation from Paul Yaffe, the little bullets, I want to say.
Yeah, and so they're super bright, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. This whole setup right here, this is the factory detached stuff. So
Right.
now you can run a backrest if it's just you and Lori and you just
Yep.
want to do this. But you also have a trunk location to put a full-size trunk on,
Yep.
put your helmets in, go on a trip, do
Yep.
whatever. These are a part that we came out with at Clockworks in 06, 07, I believe, right when that whole
Correct.
bagger thing started
Yep.
kicking off, maybe even earlier than that. But again, stamped steel, we offer them in smooth, all the way down here, or cut for a detached trunk. Man, what a great job, Todd. This thing is just super slick, and I just love where you went with this whole bike. Tell me anything I missed. I never talked about the 8-inch flare windshield because I thought this was Captain Obvious.
Yeah, it's just
this was our first part that we ever did as a flare windshield. Still to this day, one of my favorites. The lip right here kicks the air out around you. And I know you have other options. You have another version that you can run when you want to run it.
Yeah, we run a taller one. When my wife's behind me,
Yeah,
it kicks it up a little bit over her.
right on. Perfect.
Huge thanks to you, Brian, and the whole build team, which is Dani and Shelton and Brian.
Right on. Well, I just think you did a great job. I think the whole team is rooting you on. I don't know how this thing could have turned out any better. Stock paint, I saw it debut at the Black Hills Motorcycle Show, and I thought even amongst the whole modified bagger class, which you jump into once you change the wheels to 21 and a custom wheel, the PM6 piston calipers, the whole thing, this thing stood tall with stock paint.
Absolutely.
And so
It's all fresh, but still stock.
yeah, but I think you nailed the skinny tire bagger.
And we did upgrade the front and rear suspension.
Oh, okay. So what do you got there?
The rear is Drag Specialties.
Oh yeah, the new Drag Specialty shocks.
Yeah.
And the front is all updated with Race Tech
Race Tech suspension.
and got new fluid in it and fork
Yep.
seals. I forgot about that. So see? So many things. So as we unlock Earl Grey, and as you see it on the road, check out for that plate. You'll know it's Todd. If you see Earl Grey parked somewhere, tuck a sticker or a business card in here. Make sure and tell him hi. Todd's one of the best here at Klockworks. We are so stoked for you, Todd, to be able to have nailed this project. Thank you for
Awesome.
what you've done. And but if you need any of these parts, shop Get Clocked or check Todd's Instagram at tdozy. Tell him, hey, T Dozy, I want you to get out there and sand some cool reflector inserts for me and put my name on them. See you on the road.